Booyah! Tippy tie, my damies, and welcome to episode 12 of Reviewedly Interrupted. With me, your host, Pootie Tang. Here I am to do yet another one of these. 12, if I'm doing like one a week, I did do like 2 a week at one point. So, but I did do like some other episodes like in between. I don't know. So like 12, that's like, if there's 4 weeks in a month, that's like 3 months of this shit. For reals? Or somewhere around there? That's crazy. Anyways, this episode, it follows. Pretty quick on it this time, huh? I usually like ramble on for quite a long time. And it's like, damn, dude, these videos are getting longer and longer because you just talk. So I figured maybe if I talk faster, the videos would be a little shorter. But I'm not even sure that's going to happen because I just talk a lot more. Anyways, let's talk about the film. It follows. Oh, I tell you what. When I saw it, I thought it was fucking great. You know, I was like, at first it seemed like, oh, is this going to be pretty generic? But it's like, dude, the music. Like, I really love the fucking music in this one. The soundtrack is great, dude. I mean, they even, you can tell the music in a movie is like some shit, like some good shit. If, like, this doesn't have very many special features. Special features. Critics commentary. A commentary by a critic. Theatrical trailer. Poster art gallery. Oh, but what's one of the other ones? Conversation with the composer. The fucking musical composer, you know? You know the music's fucking bomb if, like, they're talking to the composer. And it's just, it is creepy, and it's just dreadful the whole time. I mean, like, you know, the music helps that and everything, but just the way it's done. You know, it seems pretty generic, and it's, like, so very 80s, you know? Remember, like a lot of the body horror teenage sex and the bad things that can happen, just like even into the slasher realm where it's like, you know, unprotected, like young out of wedlock fucking sex or whatever, you know, that driving tool of the horror that something bad is going to happen to this person because they did something immoral, even though it's not even done in a religious way. It's just like one of the old things. It's like, I don't know, there's just certain eras where it's like, remember back in like the 50s, oh my God, giant radioactive ants and all this other kind of shit and creatures and monsters because of the fear of this and that and just what was going on in society, you know, and this harkens back to that 80s vibe of that, you know, and I like how it's just like sexually transmitted possession. That's fucking wild, you know? Or not even possession, just fucking just haunted. A sexually possessed fucking demonic haunting that is just like slowly creeping up on you to fucking end your life if you don't pass it on. You know? That's just it's just great. Except it ends up like, I don't know, there's some twists and turns where it kind of does some different shit and everything. But I'm gonna go watch this motherfucker again because, you know, it's a solid fucking flick, and you know, some people thought it wasn't scary enough. It droned on. It was boring. The premise was dumb. But you know, a movie like this, like, when did it fucking come out? Like fucking 20 something. I don't know. I can't see it on here. But like, I don't know. It's a fucking like 20 teens movie and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? 2015. Came out in like 2015. And it's like, it gets really tough in like these modern times to like find something that maybe, even though I said it had like that very 80s type premise of like, you know, boning out of wedlock and shit, like, you know, teenage sex and all that kind of stuff, kind of a retro thing. It was done in such an inventive, different kind of way. So I really fucking dug that it, you know, I think it's one of those gems that stands out in a pile of like good horror movies that came out around the time, but just almost kind of run of the mill also, you know. And this was a film that went outside of the box a little bit, and I fucking dug that. And the music, Like, I can't wait till I do the movie You're Next, because I am totally gay for that fucking music, dude. That is like, it's just like fucking, dude, it's just like totally awesome. Reminds me of shit like fucking Intruder or something, you know? And this has that kind of sound. I like how these fucking composers are going back to a very electronic, like late 70s up through the 80s and even the 90s fucking electronic soundtrack. And that's cool. So I'm going to go dig on this shit again, and then I'll come back and talk about it. And why do I even explain that shit? You know what's going to happen. It's like, duh, I'm going to go watch it and I'm going to talk about it like for even longer and drone on and 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 on. I swear I don't have fucking Tourette's. All right. See you in a little while, guys. I'm going to go watch this dizzyingly, that's a stupid fucking word. Why, like, in English, we need to find, like, you want to make new words for English instead of, like, irregardless? Let's find an easier word to say than dizzyingly. Because I think by 2023, we can find easier words to say because we are dumbing shit down anyway. Dizzyingly, tense, and creepy, which I agree with. Okay, so. Cho. I'll be back in a little bit. Wadata. Well, coal me down on the panty sty. Good old It Follows delivers again. One thing I really rave about this film is the music. The music, oh my god. The fucking music is so great. That just like heavy low synth and then just like the arpeggio fucking melodies and shit like that. And it's like you listen to it, it really sounds a lot like shit, like movies like Maniac. Like, seriously, like fucking Maniac, and a lot of that shit, like even some of that, like, kind of earlier Nightmare on Elm Street, shit like that. You know, there's just a whole era where the electronic music, where even like, I want to say some of the late 70s, maybe Italian shit and everything, it's not as like, I don't know, progressive-y as like Goblin and shit like that, but it's like, definitely got that electronic vibe that carries like up through like, I want to say almost like early 90s. It's got that vibe and it's really cool. And just yeah, it's kind of creepy, and it's like, it's so random, the people it chooses, like, you know, people that look exactly like your friends, or just like some weird fucking old lady in a hospital gown. Is like, is it choosing like specific people that are alive that she may run into at some point, or that are near there, they're in the vicinity? There's like so many unanswered fucking questions with this biznatch. But it's like, I kind of don't care if they're answered. It's just creepy. It's nice and a standalone. There was some, I think, a short like fan sequel made or something like that, but I could see this being made into like another movie. But its ending is pretty cool, how it kind of leaves on that cliffhanger. It's like, obviously, homie didn't pick up those on one of those hookers, which is probably for the best, because it just would have been a swapping a genital gunk, you know. One may be worse than the other. I don't know. It depends on like if you think some big creepy entity that's bent on destroying you versus green fluid coming out of your genitals. I guess it's like a coin flip. You know, it just depends on where your heart's at with that one. I think I would pass on gonorrhea and just maybe like light jog a lot in the opposite direction, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I really like the premise. It kind of did like go kind of retro, like I was talking about, where, you know, the pitfalls of teenage sex or sex out of marriage and everything. But it's just like, it would be cool to kind of get an origin of where it started. I mean, fuck, why not? Almost like a prequel sequel, like, well, this is where it came from and everything. And I mean, it could make it, the thing is you could basically take any fucking movie and make it a trilogy. and I can see this as like at least a trilogy, if not a duology. Because I mean, there's quadrilogy. Would it just be duology? I don't know. Duology, duality, the duality of man. I don't know. But anyway, ramble, 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 ramble. Words out of my mouth, spoken into my phone of the camera, and you are listening still. America. But like, I don't know. I like some of the scenes. I do like how it starts off. Okay, now that first motherfucking scene where that one bitch is running out of her house and everything. Okay. So fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What I'm talking about is like the scene in Texas Chainsaw Massacre where they're at the fucking gas station for the first time, and the camera starts panning, and what's a fuck walks over and like gets in the van, and the camera follows the van and then goes and stops, and the van just fucking drives off into the distance and everything. Well, like that opening scene to It Follows is like the same thing where it just like pans along. She comes out of the house and it follows her. I was like, dude, it's like fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's so much Kubrick in this motherfucker, just with the camera going around in circles and everything, and you kind of see stuff happening at you, but then it's like, oh, it's out of your frame, like a lot of Kubrick. Blood in the pool, and the blood in the pool scene I thought was like fucking nuts. I mean, she's getting fucking appliances chucked at her, and you got to think, like, imagine if you were in a pool, you can't like move quick, the resistance of the water, and then just having like that iron hucked at her, a TV hucked at her. That's pretty fucking nuts, And it's just like, I don't know. And it put her in like a really fucked up position. Like, man, I got to go bang and hope that person lives long enough to bang someone else, or else I got to bang someone else. And it's like, she's 19 years old and pretty much just like fucking used up already and shit. I don't know if I'd say the scariest movie of 2015, but a pretty fucking solid one. And, yeah. I don't know how I can say, many more great things about this movie, but like I also said before, I know that people thought it was like fucking not creepy, not scary, premise dumb, and everything else. But I don't know. Maybe watch like fucking Maniac Cop, and then Maniac Cop 2, and then I don't know, Intruder, or like what's another one of those motherfuckers that came out around that time? I'm trying to think of. I don't know, like Chopping Mall and shit like that. Just watch like those kind of movies and just like throw this one in the middle, and you'll see that like even though it's a contemporary horror film, that it fucking fits in with a lot of that like late 80s, early 90s horror and shit like that. So I don't know, I say watch it again. And like if you want to pick up the Blu-ray is cheap as fuck on Amazon. They're basically giving these sons of bitches away. But yeah, definitely well worth it. And I know that some people are still just going to be like, nah, this movie was shit. And that's cool. But I liked it. So I'm glad I got a chance to watch it again. And I don't know. Talk a little bit about it. And next week for episode 13, I've been saving this one for this very special episode. A lot of people are probably thinking like, well, why would you not do this one first? And it's all because I was saving it for very special episode 13, Cannibal Holocaust, my favorite movie of all time. And this is the really fucking sick 3-disc deluxe, 2 Blu-rays plus CD Grindhouse releasing edition, which is fucking great. I mean, the little bonus soundtrack CD, I drove around playing that in my stereo for weeks at a time. But like, that's what I'm going to be doing next week. Cannibal Holocaust episode 13. Kind of perfect if you think about the movie and the whole like unlucky 13 dealio and everything. But yeah, back to It Follows. I really like the setup, and there's like more things that I caught on to the more as I watch it, because I kind of just get sucked into the story, and I'm like, I don't know, it's tight. It's like I just kind of like zone out and just go for the ride, because it's one of those ones where if you just go for the ride, it's pretty cool. But like this time, I kind of like paid attention to a little more details, and like I was like, oh, okay, this kind of makes sense with that. Oh, okay, now I get it. Okay, and just like I don't know, there's a lot of subtle shit that's in it. A lot of subtle shit that just like kind of adds to the whole picture. And yeah. And I'll gush again over the music. I think that fucking music is just tight as shit. Like it's just old school. It's old school and new school. It kind of just it's got a fucking blend that's almost like Napoleon Dynamite in a way, where it's like, what time period is this going? Like you can tell it's modern, but it's also like not modern at all. And I don't know, it just kind of like you can't put it in a specific time frame, which I've heard people talk about. And supposedly there's like little things that you can see in the film that kind of like maybe give away a time period, but it's like whatever. But fuck yeah, this was a pretty tight fucking movie, and I don't know, I'd say watch it again and just like sit back, and it's like either try to find details, you know, little details in there that kind of give shit away, or just like go along for the ride, because it's actually kind of fun. And especially if you let just like the atmosphere that builds with the fucking music in it, it's a pretty fun little ride. That's just kind of like it's another movie that it has these weird intensities, especially that scene kind of at the beginning after one dude like bangs that broad and then like ties her to the wheelchair, and he's like, okay, I'm going to show you some shit. Now you'll know what the fuck, you know, and good luck, you know, how the camera is set up like facing her and it's like attached to her and everything. And then especially after you know that thing's fucking walking up, even though you're not sure what the fuck it is, you just see it. It's like all of a sudden, because the camera is facing her, it's like you're facing her, and you know that thing's walking up and she can see it, but it's behind you. And so it adds like this extra fucking layer of creepiness at that moment, where it's just kind of like, oh shit, where it almost feels like it's creeping up on your ass too. But yeah, like I don't know, people that don't like it, don't fucking watch it again, because you don't like it, and why fucking watch something you don't like? But the people that dug it, maybe watch it again and like kind of immerse yourself. And yeah, like I think I can find. I gotta look and make sure that if there's a link to see the whole movie, or at least like I know that I can probably at least find the trailer. Check it out. If this is actually a movie that you haven't seen, maybe heard of, and you haven't checked it out, I'll try to get some links, like YouTube links, and see if that's cool. But like I said, Blu-ray is really cheap on fucking Amazon right now, so just pick it up and add it to your collection and shit. But yeah. So I'll see you on episode 13 for my favorite movie, Cannibal Holocaust. You can probably expect a much longer video where I really expound on how much I fucking love this goddamn movie. That, like, you know, if it had titties, I would motorboat it right now. But it doesn't. And I actually want to get this tattooed on me. That would be fucking sick. But anyway, it follows. Great movie. Check it out if you haven't. If you like it, watch it again. If you don't like it, don't watch it again. Until next time. This has been Reviewedly Interrupted, and I'm your host, Pootie Tang. So, wadata.